Bona Fide Scrub.
On today's show, we'll dive into the frenzy of NBA free agency, talk the Knicks signing Jalen Brunson, the Brooklyn Nets implosion, multiple trades like the Rudy Gobert trade, the Dejounte Murray trade, and more. With no Levine, I'm Swankie. Welcome to the Bona Fide Scrubs. Hope you had a nice holiday weekend and a nice 4th of July. We're recording this episode on July 6th. It should probably be out the same day. Noah, how was your holiday weekend?
Just worked at Home Depot Friday, Saturday, Monday. At least I get extra pay on Monday.
Yeah, that's good. What's the bonus?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I get a better rate, but I know I get 4 hours of extra pay for free.
All right, that's worth it. Yeah, I don't know if I feel like talking sports that much at this time of the year. We've gone through it already before, how it's starting to die down. The NBA free agency did revive it a little bit. There's definitely news and things to get brought up, but I don't know. I feel like we've been opening that door slowly with NNN. We brought up the Obi-Wan show. We uploaded a clip of that.
You got a lot of hate.
Which did decent. I got a lot of hate from...
Nobody likes your opinion.
Out of these people. I don't know what is wrong with these people. The show was great. You don't know anything about Star Wars lore. Bro, who cares about that?
The first
show,
4 episodes.
You don't need to know anything about Star Wars lore to watch a TV show. That is proof that is bad if they don't tell you everything you need to know within the pocket of the piece of entertainment you're watching. If you need to know everything from all this other stuff that nobody cares about, then it's bad. They didn't give you all the information.
Well, to be fair, it is a Star Wars show based off of one of the main characters, and obviously, if you never watched Star Wars before, you're not gonna know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is and his legacy.
Yeah, well, guess what? I have, but I haven't read
a
Star Wars book.
I know you don't need
any of that garbage.
Maybe you have read a Star Wars book.
I haven't, and I never will.
You probably will.
But
you will. Your kid.
I don't know
day.
these people with, as Michael K would call them, with Cheeto dust on their fingers, commenting that the show was great.
What does that mean? Cheeto dust on their finger? What?
I don't know. I think it's just like losers that just eat unhealthy food and just comment all day.
Michael K definitely eats Cheetos when he's off the air.
Maybe he...
Well, actually, no. He's never had a Burger King. You remember he almost threw up after eating a Whopper and fries?
Yeah.
Do you remember that? How does that even happen?
Yeah, he eats burgers with nothing on it, just the meat and the bun. That's what he eats.
Bro, he's a psychopath. I've never met anyone that's such a good roast. I'm gonna start saying people you probably just eat a plain hamburger. That's him. That's literally him.
We can't make fun of Michael too much. We should have him on the show and ask him about it.
Yeah, all right. Actually, I do remember when I was younger, maybe I was 9 or 10, I didn't eat cheeseburgers. I would only eat hamburgers, but I actually had toppings on the hamburger. So I wasn't full Michael K, but I was kind of Michael K.
Yeah.
But then I was bro, this is so
bun? What is that?
I'm and then I realized this is so bland. I need cheeseburgers. And cheeseburgers are the best. Everything kind of needs cheese.
The NBA offseason has provided us with enough to talk about, despite my complaining.
MLB
so
All-Star
we'll just get
game
to
next
it.
week. Big MLB
next
show
week?
maybe
It's
next
the All-Star
week.
game?
Or I think, or one of the
I thought it's the end of the month.
No, what? It's always
we'll
the
definitely have
second
some
week.
baseball because I more likely now each week I'm going to be going to the Hall of Fame ceremony and visiting the Hall of Fame for the first time. So that will be
you haven't went?
Cool to do. No, I've never been to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Only the basketball.
That's the best. Yeah. Oh no, dude. So so the voting ends July 8th or July 9th, and then I don't know when does it say the game is.
The game's the 24th or something. It's
late. Are you sure? Why is it later?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's kind of weird. All right, we're gonna have to do a big MLB show when that happens, because basically every team's played. Yeah, it's Tuesday the 19th. Okay, but I'm surprised MLB hasn't done their own sort of draft like the NBA where they give captains, but I guess they're traditional.
Oh yeah, you gotta move heaven and earth to make baseball break its standing traditions.
Yeah,
I don't
pretty
know
much.
I don't know if we'll ever have nothing but NAL versus NL.
Yeah, pretty much every team's played 81 games by now. We're literally halfway through the season. It's been going quick. I mean, the Mets finally got Scherzer back. He pitched great, but they lost 1-0.
Yeah, we'll have a full MLB show at some point coming soon.
I saw Pick a Side did their own MLB segment. They and they also kind of copied our title. The Nets are the biggest failure.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, you didn't see that? You probably made the graphic for them.
I did make the graphic.
They're kind of stealing our thunder a little bit, but still love you guys. Pick a Side.
Big accusations there being thrown at a monster show. Okay, let's go local. Okay, because why not start the show with that? We could do the Knicks and the Nets first. Okay. What do you want to do?
Let's go with the Knicks. Let's get that out of the way before we drop a bomb on the Nets.
Yeah, fair enough. So the Knicks make 2 moves since the NBA draft. One was they re-signed Mitchell Robinson, 4 years, $66 million for him. One of your favorite Knicks. So I'm sure you're happy that he's coming back.
Yeah, but not for that price.
You
disappointed in the
they're
price?
Overpaying?
Yeah.
How come?
I saw someone tweet out Nurkic got 4 years, $70 million, and Nurkic is a much better player than Mitch. I mean, Mitch.
No, that's true.
Mitch plays like 50 games a year. I feel like he's always hurt. He always falls down and injures like his hand or something. He's good when he plays. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't want to commit like a 4-year contract to someone like that, like $60 million. And I know he doesn't move the needle enough. I mean, he's a nice player. All right, he did play 72 games last year, which is nice. But he needs to produce a little more. Like I want to see him average a double-double next year. He hasn't been able to do that in his career. He needs to play the minutes. He needs to stay on the court. He needs to stay out of foul trouble, and he needs to stay healthy. He hasn't been able to do that for half his career. He's always had like 3 fouls in the first half. It's annoying, and then they have to take him out.
And the Magic paid Mo Bamba a 2-year, $20 million contract, which you made fun of him last episode. You said he was trash. I debunked
he is trash.
That. He averages better. He averages better numbers than Robinson.
Okay, so then do you think Robinson was overpaid if Bamba's better than him?
Well, exactly. I mean, sure, I guess.
No, Bamba's not better than him, but I think he's trash. But you see, I think 3 years, like $30 million or $40 million would have been reasonable for Mitch. $60 million? Well, I don't know. And everybody was saying that the Charlie Ward curse has been broken, but it hasn't because Mitch was a second rounder, not a first rounder. Charlie Ward was the last rookie first rounder by the Knicks to sign an extension. Ago, right? Yeah, it was the 90s. That's crazy.
Well, RJ will break it.
Yeah. Garland got a big extension.
So yeah, I mean that just shows how much of a failure the Knicks have been. That this is their first rookie in 25 years to be re-signed.
Not as big as the Nets, though. That we'll get into later.
Well, yeah, don't start that transition yet. We're not done here. But
all right, yeah, so we were at the
draft. We were at the draft for Robinson. And RJ.
Yeah, I know, that's why he's not RJ.
That was literally we were at their first successful draft.
Not RJ.
Years.
It was Kevin Knox, who just got signed by the Pistons.
Oh, that's right.
The Pistons are creating the Knicks of last year. They have everybody.
Yeah, no, they are. So what? They also re-sign Hartenstein, or not re-sign, but sign him.
He's fine. I mean, he's not really going to do much.
He's an interesting player. It was a cheap contract. He'll be the Noel replacement.
He can protect the rim well.
5 and a block. I mean, he's not a bad player, and he's not expensive. So that adds some decent depth for them at the center position in case Robinson gets hurt or they just don't want to go with Jericho Sims for some reason, which Tibbs probably won't because he just hates all young players.
The Summer League's starting. I saw Keegan Murray, the guy we don't like, he had 28 in his first game. But that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
and
Chet,
I saw
Chet went off too. That was the story of the day yesterday.
He had 23. I mean, he actually looked pretty damn good.
I know. Maybe my rookie of the year prediction is decent.
You flip-flop. You thought he was going to be bad like 2 months ago, but this dude could just shoot step-back threes at that height.
Listen, Summer League, you could.
It doesn't really matter, yeah.
I mean,
Thabit was probably good in Summer League, and then we saw what happened to him.
Was he? I mean, Lonzo was like insane, and he became
won MVP.
Okay.
Kuzma was insane too.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everyone was like
they won the Summer League that year.
And Josh Hart, yeah, that whole Lakers team was just They
Josh
were
Hart's a
there.
good player. I remember I wanted the Knicks to trade for him at the deadline, or they were thinking about trying to get him somehow, or he was gonna be a free
Yeah,
agent. But
Thabit averaged 11 points and 8 rebounds in the summer league.
not bad. I mean, Kevin
And we saw
Knox
what
was a
happened
beast in
there.
the summer league, and we saw what happened to him too.
Yeah. And then the big splash, Jalen Brunson. It was real. It was never cap. They actually got him for a little bit less than people said. 4 years, $104 million. I'll let you go first here, and then I'll say what I need to about Jalen Brunson.
Well, I think he's a nice player. I remember we debated we'd rather have Brogdan because of the price. Everything has price has to be factored in with all these guys. He did average 16 and 5 last year. Yes, that is not great. But he did play with Luka, and Luka has the ball most of the game. But Brunson did really go off in the first round. I really didn't want to pay this guy over 100 mil. I really didn't want him because I don't want to be stuck in mediocrity, because that's the worst place to be in the NBA. If you think about the sports, it's so much easier to get out of mediocrity if you're in the NFL, the MLB, because MLB you could just spend whatever you want unless you have a cheap owner. Because the MLB, the Yankees were 80 and 80 that one year or whatever, 82 and 80, and then they signed some people and their farm system got better and they instantly became a contender again, right? So it's much easier for teams like that to get out of mediocrity. And the NFL, I mean, the Saints, remember they went 7-9 3 years in a row, and guess what? The next year they draft Kamara, Michael Thomas, and had Lattimore all in the same draft, and then they become a 12-win team and a Super Bowl contender. So in NBA, it's so much harder because all the good players are gone before the top 10. Let's be realistic. All the future all-stars are mostly gone. You get outliers like Jokic, obviously, and Draymond and Middleton, people like that. But that doesn't happen often. If you're the Knicks, why are we we're shooting for the play? And I'd rather be bad. I'd rather be really bad and play our young players, or go all in. I guess they're trying to go all in, but it's Jalen Brunson. It's not like they just traded for Donovan Mitchell and just rolling the dice and maybe can make an East Finals or something. This is a guy who's good. He's not great, so they're going to be a fringe play-in team. I don't really want that. I'd rather be in the Pistons position where they just they have all young players and they're just letting everyone play freely. I'd rather be the Pistons. You rather be the Pistons or the Warriors. The champions are one of the worst teams.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with any of that.
Because the cap is so hard. It's so hard to draft well in the NBA. NFL is so much easier. NHL, MLB, it's so much easier to get your team better instantly without making so many trades. In the NBA, think about how mediocre the Hornets have been for 10 years. I mean, they were crap with Kemba when they won 7 games, but they've been a fringe play-in team the last couple years. I mean, Rozier, they have nice players, but they're not superstars. It's not Kevin Durant. And they have the 18th pick every year. How are you supposed to get better at adding just a random role player to your team?
Right,
so
and the only time they made a big step to getting better was drafting LaMelo, and that was horrible.
And now they're getting better, yeah.
Yeah. So no, I don't disagree with any of that. The one thing I'll say to that point is, if you're just gonna be bad forever, you're just gonna be trapped in this hole. The Knicks have been trapped in for a long time, where they
aren't bad right now. They're
bottom of the league and they get the 4th pick. They're at the bottom of the league. They get the 7th pick. These things just happen over and over again.
They have to draft. They also have to draft the right player when they're in the top 10. They drafted Knox over Shea or someone.
Yeah,
you also you can't be the Sacramento Kings because they've been bad for 15 years. But they drafted Keegan Murray this year. They keep drafting the wrong guy at their pick.
Yeah.
But I feel better about
another thing. You can't.
But why do I feel
you can't predict where you're gonna land. You can't predict who you're gonna draft. You can't predict who's gonna get taken above you.
Yeah,
you're just stuck with the. I mean,
it's so hard to get out of poverty in the NBA.
What happens to you?
Yeah, it's so hard. The Thunder have been bad for a couple of years. They could be bad for the next 3 years, and it wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, but they drafted the right players, though.
Well, yeah, if Chet doesn't become good, they're just set back another year. That's why it's so impressive.
What I think about.
Well, hold on. That's why it's so impressive what the Warriors did. They drafted people not in the top 5 and became a dynasty. They actually developed everyone. They got out of poverty by hitting on every pick 3 years in a row, pretty much 3 or 4 years in a row. That's impressive.
Yeah, they were bad for a few years and then won the championship again.
Yeah, retooled.
So they figured it out. Here's what I'll say about Jalen Brunson, and I had a big debate with this in the Pick a Side group chat with Joel. So Joel, if you made it to this point in the show, you're welcome on anytime.
Yeah,
I'll go
sorry
on Pick a Side anytime.
if I got you mad by us saying you copied us, but
and we'll hash it out there. It was a fun debate to have though. But basically, what Joel was saying was he loves Jalen Brunson and he doesn't see why people are getting so mad over the Knicks signing him. And I mean, I basically said what you said, where you're adding
nice,
a guy that
what's it gonna do?
It doesn't do very much for your team other than prevent you from being god awful. That's really all it does.
Even without Brunson, I don't think they were gonna be god awful this year.
No, probably not.
With the
But
players
at least
they have.
gives you a hope at making the playoffs. I mean, what is this team ceiling? Making the playoffs and not being in the
Probably
play-in,
the
like a
8th
6 seed? 6 or
Yeah,
5 seed is the
I mean-
ceiling, absolute pinnacle of the season for them.
7th seed probably, yeah, 6th, 7th.
Yeah, so they'll shoot for the play-in and it'll be fine.
And then they'll get swept in the first round, or if they they might lose in the play-in because the Hawks and Hornets are better than them to me.
Right, so it doesn't do very much. When you look at the landscape of the East, which is becoming very good, they really only have a shot to replace the Nets, who made the playoffs last year. I mean, that's really it. And the Hornets, they're going to get maybe a little worse because Miles Bridges is not going to come back to them pretty much no matter what, it seems like. So they'll lose a decent player there. But other than that, one thing about the Hornets and the Nets falling apart, all the other teams are going to be good again, and if not as good, better, because the Hawks added Dejounte Murray. These teams are adding new players. The Celtics are getting even better. The Sixers, the Bucks are starting with the Heat are looking to add Kevin Durant. Like the East, nothing is going to disappear in the East when it comes to
and
the playoffs.
you have to expect maybe the Magic or Pistons get better with their rookies too. I'm not gonna be better
so
than the
teams
Knicks,
at the
but they're
bottom
still
are
gonna be
more
better.
competitive.
Yeah, more
Yeah.
competitive.
So adding Jalen Brunson for 4 years,
That puts us in the play-in for 4 years, unless RJ becomes a god or something.
yeah, we were talking about, what is Jalen Brunson? I called him a good starter, and he got very
is a
offended
good
by
starter.
that.
He's not an
saying that
all-star.
he
He hasn't made an all. I rather have Darius Garland than him, or some other point guards in that.
Right, and we talked about what position is Jalen Brunson on the Knicks? Is he the best player? Is he the second best player? And Joel admitted that Jalen Brunson was the third best player on the Knicks. So if you're signing a guy for $100 million to be the third best player on a team where the guy you're saying is the second best player isn't even an all-star yet,
That's
and
not
RJ
good.
and Randall is an inconsistent player who had an All-NBA year and then was very inefficient last season and wasn't able to be the player that he was, it's not a good look for a big three.
Well, maybe they're
when you're
thinking
talking
long
about the
term.
Knicks.
Maybe they think Randall can rejuvenate and RJ can be an all-star next year, because the best scenario for this team would be the Randall go back to All-NBA and RJ an all-star, and then Brunson your third guy for $100 million, and he's a good player he's a good third option.
Right, that's why I said the pinnacle of their season is like the 5 seed if that happens.
Yeah,
I mean, if you have like 3 all-stars as your big 3, I mean, sure, you're going to be fine, but like we talked about it again, like could Jalen Brunson be a part of a championship team? And we agreed, everybody agreed that the answer is yes, but who is your 1 and 2? He's not a 1 and 2 player.
It has to be like Kawhi and Paul George. It has to be like 2 of the top 10 players probably.
Right, 2 all-time players have to be the 1 and 2.
Kevin
for it
Durant,
to be
Kyrie Irving, yeah.
a championship move. So basically, it goes back to your point of just the Knicks are not going in any direction. They're treading water. They get a little better.
I don't want to tread water. I hate it.
By adding Brunson, and you kind of just see what has to happen. I mean, I think we would be a lot happier if they added Brunson and then got a
Donovan Mitchell
different
or
player
something
to be their number 1, like a Donovan Mitchell. I think that would make a lot of people a lot more happy with the offseason.
Bring back the elf as our point guard. It's time. Bring him back.
I mean, I don't know how. It still doesn't make sense to my brain how they were successful with him. Was it just he hid and Randall was just that good to drag him with him?
Well, he had some good games, but I don't even know.
No, yeah, he had like 5 where he scored like 20 randomly. But he literally shot like 25% from threes at the bottom of the NBA.
I don't know. Ramley, he would hit threes though when I watched them. I don't know. Like he somehow like hit and they won every game. I don't know.
And then they added Kemba Walker next year, who scored 50 points and were terrible, and it was then disappeared. It got benched.
Fournier, I don't even mind that contract. I hear a lot of Knicks fans not like it. I don't think it's a problem. Like I think our top players need to be better before we start worrying about the role players. I mean, yes, in a perfect world, that'd be nice, but I think our best players need to be good. No, he served his role. He's exactly what we paid for.
Yeah, he averaged like 15.
Yeah, that's his whole career with like a good 3-point. Like that's what we needed. We needed a guy who could hit threes.
I mean, really, it's not that bad. He's not even 30 yet either. Like,
yeah, it's fine. He's like the fourth option.
Yeah, so I mean, the Knicks, they basically it's not a splash really to write home about.
I would have loved to use those picks in space on Donovan Mitchell. Because at least with Donovan Mitchell, he has a ceiling where he can maybe drag a team to the East Finals or like have an exciting playoff run because he's that talented.
Right, I mean, you can't do things you just can't do. Like if the Jazz don't want to trade
him. Oh no, I know. I'm saying in a perfect world, yeah, Donovan Mitchell will be the guy.
Yeah, that's why I said. Joel asked me, like, what is your idea of a good free agency then, if it's not this? And I said, well, if I could just
stay put, then be bad, I guess.
If I could just say semi-realistic outcomes, I would say Donovan Mitchell, trade for Dejounte Murray potentially would be another one. Or just, like what you said, I just said, just be bad. Just have a young team.
Just sit there, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we still have young
players. And leave yourself with options.
Yeah. Wait till next year.
Right, because... Like the Knicks, if they were the 4th seed and then last year were a little worse and like were the 6th seed and made the playoffs again and Randall was still good and they just got a little worse because the East got better, I would not be as mad with adding Brunson because it seems like
because we'd be like,
your foundation of your team is already pretty much a lock to make the playoffs if they have done it the last 2 years with the same roster. Like it would have given you a lot more confidence. Okay, we're adding a legit point guard that has a chance to become really good in the next 4 years.
We can maybe make
with
these
a team
finals.
That's already pretty decent. So yeah, I mean, you're adding Brunson to a team that already has some problems on it. It doesn't really make it great.
We're essentially adding Brunson to an unknown team because Randall flopped last year. He was All NBA the year before, but we don't know what we're getting from Randall this year. He could be great. He could be bad. I don't know what's going to happen with him. He's been inconsistent his whole career. RJ, we think he could be an all-star, but who knows? What if he just flattens out? He just stays around this average and doesn't get that much better. Like, we're adding Brunson to a lot of unknowns. That's what I just don't like. We don't have a stable roster.
We're adding Brunson, who's another ball-dominant player. I mean, RJ and Randall have had the run of the team over the last 2 years.
They're ball-dominant, yeah.
To have the ball. Work? So now you're adding a third player that needs the ball in his hands to be effective. And Brunson, I mean, he's an okay facilitator. He back in the playoffs when he was the guy, he averaged close to 8 assists per game. So he can do it. It's just in that scenario, he wasn't playing with 2 other guys that need to dribble and isolate in order to score and dominate the ball.
What was Lonzo's contract? Because would you rather have Lonzo on his contract or Brunson on his?
Oh, that's tough because...
You're a big Lonzo advocator.
I know, and Brunson is better than him, but...
Not... I mean, yes,
Lonzo...
I wouldn't say... Yeah, he's better.
Yeah, he is better.
No, I was going to say not by much, but like, you feel like he is a lot better. Lonzo's always... Okay, so Lonzo's on a 4-year, $85 million. What is that per year?
Like 20-something.
Okay, so would you rather have pay Lonzo 21 a year or Brunson 26.5?
Oh, that is actually a good question. I think I would rather pay Brunson for just $5 more million per year.
Yeah, I agree. Like for any team, but for the Knicks' sake, I feel like I'd rather have Lonzo because we have 2 dominant players, ball-dominant players already, and Lonzo can hit threes just like Brunson, and he's a better facilitator, and he's a better defender. So, yes, I agree with you. I'd rather have Brunson if I was just any random NBA team. Yes, he's a better player, and he has a higher ceiling because he could score 30, like have great games. Lonzo doesn't score like that, can't hit big shots, but for for the Knicks' sake, I think I'd rather have your guy Lonzo for just how the team's constructed.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, okay, we have to give credit to Brunson.
The Knicks' three best players.
He averaged 4.8 assists. 4.8 assists last year. Lonzo only averaged 5, so it's pretty much the same.
Well, Lonzo was hurt. I don't know. I
for
feel
facilitating.
Like, yeah.
The point about the defense, though. I mean, Lonzo's 6'7". Like, he is a much better defender.
I mean, the Knicks adding Brunson, we have our 3 best players are all lefties. They're just gonna guard the left side, and we're screwed.
Yeah, I forgot about that. They're all lefties.
Stephen always yells about how RJ doesn't go right ever. Well, we're screwed.
No, that's a
then.
myth, though.
That is a myth. Yeah, Stephen A. doesn't watch anything.
Yeah, Lonzo goes. I mean, not Lonzo. RJ goes right.
But Lonzo is definitely a way worse offensive player. But just for the little discount, maybe I'd rather have Lonzo. I don't know.
Yeah,
he is always hurt.
Matter.
That is the wrong thing. But Lonzo shot 42% from 3 last year with the Bulls on 7 attempts, like 13. I know he only averaged 5 assists, but like I mean, I don't know. I mean, he played with Zach Levine. Zach Levine and DeMar really had the ball a lot, and he was hurt for most of the year. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll see what happens this year. I feel like Lonzo could average 7 or 8 assists if he plays the full year.
At least we're not the Brooklyn Nets. Let's just say that. That's how I ended the debate with Joel. I'm like, he started making fun of Riv because Riv is a Bulls fan, and he was just saying how the Bulls are the same thing as the Knicks, where they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, they are the same. They have better, more exciting players, but
let's just all get along and be thankful we're not the Nets. And that's what we'll go to now. The Nets, they re-signed, or Kyrie Irving opts into his contract for 1 more year, $35 million, and then 24 hours later, Durant says, "You know what? Forget this. I'm out of here. Well, I'm not playing with Kyrie again." So he demands a trade from Brooklyn. It was the story of the day. It dominated for like 12 hours straight. People trying to predict what teams he would go to, what the fallout would be, what the trade could possibly look like. I mean, it's just so, it really is very hilarious, the situation with the Brooklyn Nets. I wish I had the Nets alphabet in front of me that I could read down every failure to check the box, because it's just everything that we knew would happen to the Nets basically did. I mean, Steve Nash as a head coach was a failure. The Stars demanded that Kenny Atkinson be fired because they didn't want to play hard. And then Nash, that ended up happening. The Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, the Nets, they signed Kevin Durant to rehab for 1 whole straight season without playing a single game. I still have that clip of Stephen A. They asked Stephen A. if he would sign DeMarcus Cousins to the Knicks when he was still relevant. And Stephen A. was like, "What? Sign him to rehab? You want to sign him to rehab?" That's what he was saying. The Nets did that. Argue now with Kevin Durant, who is obviously worth it to attempt to do that, but that clip always resonates in my head. Sign him to rehab. That's what the Nets did with Kevin Durant. They bring Kyrie Irving, who's already problematic. People pretend like he just got problematic on the Nets. That's not true.
Yeah,
he was problematic in Cleveland, talking about LeBron. I don't want to be in LeBron's shadow. Problematic in Boston, saying that he was going to re-sign when he didn't, causing that team to have bad chemistry and be better without him when they made the East Finals that year. And then they come together to be the most problematic duo in the NBA. They only play like 50 games together through 3 seasons, which is the biggest failure of them all.
And they played like 10 games with Harden too, all 3 of them.
Yeah, it literally was the worst possible
Harden
outcome.
knew it. Harden was like, "I'm out. I got to get out of here. You guys are idiots. Like, you guys can't play. You guys don't play games. This franchise sucks." And he left. And Philly or the Rockets got a lot of picks. And Philly
It just
won
goes
the trade.
to show. It just goes to show that you can't just be ultra talented and just magically win a bunch of games, a bunch of playoff series, and make the finals. You actually need team chemistry. You need good depth. You need good role players. You need a good head coach.
Yeah, we've been
all
saying
these things
that.
in basketball matter, and the Nets just proved it in an era where stars kind of do whatever they want. They go wherever they want.
Yeah,
they
it didn't work for
demand
them.
trades whenever they want. They think that they can team up and just be great immediately, no matter where it is. I mean, look at the team ups. The Clippers. They've been a failure too. They've
won.
been getting eliminated by Luka. They
didn't get eliminated by Luka, but
or what? They beat
got
them.
hurt.
Oh yeah, I forgot. They cook Luka always. It's the other way around. But I mean, they've been hurt this past year. They weren't able to play together for most of the season. They didn't make the playoffs. Like, that team up has been a failure. The Lakers, I mean, they do have a championship, but LeBron and AD, without the bubble, they would have been a failure too. Westbrook made it worse. The Nets have been awful. And you look at the teams that are winning the championship. The Bucks were built as a team. The Warriors, of course. The Celtics just made the finals with a team that they basically completely drafted, other than a few players. Like,
the Suns,
these teams that build, have good head coaches, that have a culture with depth. Those are the teams that are succeeding right now in the NBA, despite this trend of the team ups and the all-stars and everything that we've been seeing. So it's just, I don't know. I don't know when teams will learn that just signing guys to free agency doesn't look like it works.
That's the Knicks tried to do.
At this point, compared to the other teams. I mean, even you look at, it took a while for LeBron and the Heat to come together and win a finals.
Yeah, it took them a year.
They only ended up winning 2 championships out of that when they said that they were going to win 8. So
yeah, they won 2 and 2.
It just seems like throughout the course of NBA history, it's always the teams that have depth and have draft picks and good head coaches that end up winning, and not the super teams. It's just, that's kind of been what it is.
Yeah, the Nets just a lot of bad decisions. This is the KG Pierce trade 2.0. We keep saying it. Yep. They trade all their picks to the Rockets. You tweeted it's 2033, and the Rockets have won their 8th straight championship.
I mean, realistically, they will win a finals between now and then.
Probably. If Jabari pans out, I said Jabari was going to have a 6th finals MVP in 2033, tying MJ.
Yeah.
They're going to be insane. Yeah, just horrible organization. A lot of people are blaming Joe Tsai. So I saw some people blaming him for the Nets collapse. But why is it his fault? He's just the guy who buys the team. Just like everyone blames Dolan for the Knicks failures. Sometimes it's the GM, the head coach, and the players. The players just never played games. How's that Tsai's fault that Kyrie didn't get vaccinated?
Yeah, it was the players' fault. It was the players' fault.
It blew up in their face, and now they're all demanding a trade.
Yeah, we got to talk about that a little bit, because we're in an era right now in the NBA where you can just demand a trade whenever you want. Whenever you sign a contract, it doesn't matter.
Annoying.
It is very annoying. I don't know if the NBA can do anything about it to stop this from happening. But Kevin Durant, I mean, he just signed his extension last year, and now a year later he's demanding a trade because
he thought James Harden and Kyrie were going to be on his team.
Well, guess what? Guess what? You're relying on James Harden and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah,
why
would
you do that? Kevin Durant's biggest failure of his whole career was relying on Kyrie Irving to do something.
Russell Westbrook was a better teammate than him.
He was. Westbrook was always durable. He always showed up. He was on the court. He was annoying because he kind of never deferred to Durant, who was obviously the better player in their time together. But I'll take Russell Westbrook 10 times out of 10 over Kyrie Irving's comments and his actions off the court and the things that he does. It just, he thinks that he's like the galaxy brain of the NBA, when really
he's dumb.
No matter what you think about Kyrie Irving, whether you think he's a good person or he's not as problematic as we say, you can't deny that his comments and actions have resulted in a net negative for himself, his teammates, and the Nets. Yep. That's really all you can say. I mean, they have not been better with him. They have not been successful with him. He has not created a positive news cycle ever for Brooklyn. Everything that he says and does,
everyone just points fingers
somehow
at him
is negative. Yeah, it puts a target on their back that has resulted in problematic things happening for Brooklyn for both these players' whole careers with them. And now it's probably going to be over. I don't know what the outcomes could be, Noah. I mean, where could these players go? I mean, I know people are saying Durant wants to go to the Suns. The Heat also are another team. I don't know. What's the most exciting landing spot for Kevin Durant, do you think?
So the best landing spot for Kevin Durant, I'm going to go with, you know what? I'll tell you where I think he should go, and I'll tell you where I think he will go, okay?
Okay.
I think he will end up on the Heat, but he should go to the Phoenix Suns. and he should
Okay.
go to the Phoenix Suns because the Western Conference is worse. Obviously, the Lakers, they had this dysfunction. They still have Westbrook. The Warriors are getting older. Maybe they'll be back there. We don't know. They could be good. I mean, the Nuggets are okay. The Clippers, they're always hurt. The Mavs, Luka just lost his right-hand man, Brunson. So if KD wants to shut everyone up for saying the Warriors don't need him, he should go to Phoenix and beat the Warriors in the playoffs and then lead them to a championship. That's what he should do. But I think he'll end up in Miami because I don't think the Suns are going to want to trade Booker because that's what they said the starting price would be. And I feel like, I mean, the Nets, I don't know if the Suns want to give up Mikal, Mikal, that's funny. Mikal, Aiden, and Booker. I feel like that's too much. So I don't know if the Suns will do that. Pat Riley is the Stars genius. He always can lure any star there. They'll trade like Kyle Lowry, I don't know, Hero, Duncan. They'll trade like 10 picks, maybe even Bam or something. They'll get it done. They'll try to have Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler play together. So I think he'll end up on the Heat, which is kind of weird because LeBron played for the Heat, like the two best players of this generation somewhat, ended up playing for the same teams, some of the same teams.
Yeah,
and,
what?
And the Sun, I just think he should go out west and leave the East because he got tore up in the East. He got shut down by Boston last year, and the East is tougher. I mean, he's not getting through the Bucks.
Right. I mean, yeah, the thing is, he doesn't really have a choice. So the Nets can just accept any trade that they want to. Whatever the best deal is, they've already said that they will go through and do that. So the Heat, the Heat are going to have to outbid any team if they want to land him. And it seems like every team in the NBA pretty much is at least reaching out to try and land a deal.
Except for the Knicks.
Well, I don't know. They probably are. But would Brooklyn ever trade with the Knicks? Their best player ever?
Not.
Would they trade him to the Knicks? Probably not. So
I don't know. But did you see that the Raptors have entered the sweepstakes? Apparently, they're a top 5 team to get him.
They don't want to trade Scotty Barnes.
But why? Like, it's Kevin Durant. You could have Kevin
I don't
Durant,
know. I guess they just
Siakam,
think
and those
KD's
guys.
getting old.
I mean,
He's
yeah. I
old.
mean, it is kind of. He is on 4 years. He's not going to be much better. Gun to your head, where do you think he's going to be?
Miami.
You think Miami too? Okay, what if the whole league? You know what I wish would happen? I wish the whole league would conspire against the Nets and just not accept any trade. So then the Nets
That would be amazing. I think the Nets shouldn't trade him. I think the Nets should just keep him on the team.
Yeah.
And say, you know what? I dare you to not play the rest of your career, your legendary career, and just die on the Nets because you demanded a trade and didn't want to play. Yeah, the Nets,
the NBA team should just be like, nah, screw you. Your team sucks. We don't want to worry about any of your players. Like, you guys can go have fun with Ben Simmons.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is they're just too talented to do that. They just won't. It should be on the Nets. They should say, no, I'm not trading you. You would demand a trade, so what?
All these packages are crazy. The Warriors can make a run at him. They could offer Poole, Wiggins coming up. If he ended up back up on the Warriors, I don't even know what I would say. I mean, they would just win the championship again. Curry would have his 5th championship. And KD is a snake, bro. When things get hard, he always has to go back to the Warriors. Like,
oh my!
It's like that girl.
Yeah,
It's like that girl you dated 5 years ago, but you still think about her every day. It's like that ex that you always want to keep going back to secretly.
Yeah, Durant's obsessed. He's obsessed with playing with Curry and getting dragged to the finals. He is less important, folks. I said it years ago, and I'll say it again if he ends up back on them.
Do we think that Kyrie ends up in LA because it seems like LeBron wants him there? I don't know if that's true, but
I don't know why. I mean, they're gonna have to trade for Westbrook. The Nets. Why would the Nets do that?
I don't know. Like, how is Kyrie gonna end up anywhere? Who's gonna trade for him if it's not the Lakers? Who wants him?
I don't know. I mean, he's on a 1-year deal. They could just have him for 1 year. He's an expiring contract, so that's valuable. I mean, they could trade. Any team could trade a contract that they don't want.
What would you do if the Knicks traded Randall for him straight up?
They
an
won't.
Expiring
They
deal.
won't do
Yeah,
it.
I know.
They
That'd be
won't
kind
do
of
it.
funny. Yeah, I know. They wouldn't do.
Yeah.
I don't know. KD in Miami. I guess we're gonna get used to that. If it happens.
All right, let's talk about some trades that did happen. Rudy Gobert goes to the Timberwolves in exchange for, let's see it here, Jared Vanderbilt, Patrick Beverly, Walker Kessler, and 4 first-round picks, 3 unprotected. Everybody immediately freaked out that this was a huge scam by Danny Ainge and the Jazz. And
I agree.
I don't know. I'm going to play the devil's advocate here and say that it was not a huge scam.
Wow.
Rudy Gobert is an all-star every year. He's a 3-time defensive player of the year. He's a great player in the NBA. I mean, people don't want to admit it. He's on a huge contract. It is difficult when you have a player like that who's not a great offensive talent, but he is one of the best defenders in the NBA. He is a multi-time defensive player of the year. He is worth a big haul back for him. Now, the 3 unprotected first-round picks, yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, I would like to still have those if I was the T-Wolves, but we talk about it all the time, Noah. What are first-round picks worth? Okay, I mean,
well,
yeah,
if you're the Brooklyn Nets, they are valuable.
If one of those is the number 1 pick, then yeah, it's gonna be bad. Like if you are the Nets and you're gonna have Ben Simmons and no one for the next 8 years, like yeah, your picks are gonna be worth a lot. But I mean, if the Timberwolves are fine, if they're middle of the road, if they're making the playoffs, if they're at least okay, those picks are gonna be what, the 17th pick, the 20th pick. Who cares really about that? Really? And these other players, I mean, who cares about these players? People overrate these people so much. Patrick Beverly is not worth very much, okay? He's an annoying player. He's an okay on-ball defender, overrated on-ball defender, by the way. He's just not.
Stats to prove that?
It doesn't matter. I've seen them, and I'm not prepared with them. So you can deny what I said, and I can't expose you for being wrong.
No, I mean, I think he sucks.
Yeah,
I think they all suck, these players.
Malik Beasley and Jared Vanderbilt are fine.
They're fine.
Like, they're fine. But, like, who cares? So if you're the T-Wolves and you really think you can get better by adding one of the best defenders in the NBA, just go ahead and do it. I mean, yeah, they're gonna have to run a lineup of Cat and Gobert, which is weird.
That's why it's gonna fail. That's so dumb.
I don't know if I love doing that. Look, I'm not saying it's amazing, but I don't know. I don't like. It's almost a deal that I don't care about. Like, who cares what they've done?
I don't think it changes anything from the Timberwolves, really.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't change anything for either team.
So I think it's a scam for the Jazz and what they got in return for him. I mean, no, I think it's good that the Timberwolves did this because they didn't, like, who cares about the picks and stuff, just like you said. But it's for they trade all this for Rudy Gobert, or should I say Rudy Gobert. And I always make fun of teams that have. I always make fun of teams that have centers as best player. Obviously, Jokic and Embiid, they're all-world players. I'm not going to make fun of their teams. Like, they make the playoffs every year. They're fine. But this is Rudy Gobert. He's 30. He's declining. And he's going to make $50 million in a season in a few years. What is the point of pairing 2 centers together that they're not going to be able to play in the playoffs? How are you going to play 2 centers? I know they need rim protection. And we saw Ja sizzle them and just destroy them at the rim every play because Cat can't guard anyone at the rim. But they didn't need a center. They already have Cat. You're paying 2 centers that are good to mediocre, $50 million a year. You're locked up for the next 4 years. Now they're screwed. They can't get better. How is this team going to win a championship? Well, is this team going to win a championship? Probably not. I would have never traded.
What they're banking on is that Anthony Edwards becomes an all-star, which he probably could be.
He'll be good, yeah.
Cat is already a top 15 player in the NBA, so he's fine.
Sure, yeah.
And he's versatile. He can hit threes. He can space the floor. He's not trapped in the paint.
Yes, but why do you want 2 centers? The game is going away from centers. The Warriors just won the championship with Looney. Horford's not on his last legs, and he played well. Why are you paying 2 centers $50 million? That just sounds like a horrible financial decision. I like Edwards. Edwards is good, but deloading was really bad in the playoffs. You could have maybe traded for Donovan Mitchell. You traded with the Jazz. Why didn't you ask for Donovan Mitchell first?
They probably did, and they probably didn't give it to him.
No, I know, but like, why? Deloading's not good. You should get an all-star point guard to pair with Edwards or another wing because they don't have any good wings. Why do you want 5 centers that are slow and can't play defense? Gobert can play defense. Like, it's hilarious. In 4 years, they're probably going to go 30 and 52, and everybody's like, oh yeah, so maybe trading for Rudy Gobert wasn't that good. We just won 30 games, and he's 34, and we're screwed because he's making 50 million a year. And Cat's good, but he's not a superstar. We just paid two non-superstars 50 mil a year. That's what happens. Your team's gonna suck. So I think it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that the Timberwolves did this. Like, they just got too hyped. They're like, we made the playoffs the first time. Now it's time to just throw everything away and try to get as many people as we can. No, they should have waited. They should have gone a different point guard. They should have let Edwards develop again. They should have ran it back with the same team. Hell, maybe they could have been Memphis, or they maybe could have been Memphis the next year or something. I don't know. They played Memphis pretty well. They blew a lot of games, but another year under their belt. Edwards gets better. Maybe deloading finally figures something out. But they jumped the gun, and good for the Jazz. I mean, they sold off their prized possession for a lot, and Donovan Mitchell was always the best player on that team, so who cares if you lose Rudy Gobert? Rudy Gobert right now is not what he was 2 years ago. He's still good, obviously, but his prime's going to end soon. Yeah. I don't know. Minnesota, this is why they make the playoffs once every 15 years. They do stuff like this when they get too excited.
I just think it's not that bad. I think the players you gave up are not worth very much.
Oh, I agree. But just the principle for trading for another center in Gobert.
That's fair. And the picks are tough. I mean, we'll see what happens to them. It is the T-Wolves. I mean, who have they drafted other than when they had the number one pick, which they...
Nothing.
So credit to them. They did not flop at the number one pick, but...
They drafted Jarrett Culver 6th. Remember that?
Yeah, they drafted Ricky Rubio anymore. And they drafted Johnny Flynn and all these people. Like, yeah, they are not good when they don't have the number one pick. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Well, Minnesota, they threw out their chance to contend, I feel like.
And the final trade before we get to NNN, the Hawks, they land Dejounte Murray in a ridiculous trade for Danilo Gallinari and 3 first-round picks and a pick swap. I mean, the Knicks, why didn't they just trade Randall and 3 picks for this? I mean, that's what I would have done.
Because the Knicks are dumb. But why? Think about it. Let's look at it from the Spurs perspective. Why would you trade your best player for 3 firsts? You're already a bad team, and he's a building block, and he became an all-star, and he's still young. Like, what's the point of trading this?
This is the exact opposite of the Knicks, what the Knicks did. The Knicks were a fine team, and they signed Brunson to stay a little bit better than they were. And the Spurs were a fine team, and they said, you know what? We're fine. We're not going to do anything better than this. We're just going to blow it up immediately and get rid of our best player.
Yes, but I would like to keep Dejounte Murray and blow up the other pieces. Yes,
they are doing your philosophy of going back to being shit just to try and rebuild.
But they were shit this year pretty much, and Dejounte is a good building block. He's better than RJ Barrett right now. I mean, he was just an all-star. So I don't get it. Maybe the Spurs are acting like the small market syndrome. Anytime the Marlins or Pirates get a good player, they ship him immediately. It makes no sense because they don't want to pay him. It's annoying, and I feel bad if you're a Spurs fan, but I don't feel bad at all because you won 5 championships in 20 years, and the Knicks will never sniff that. That's more than more than double our franchise, and you had the best power forward ever and the best coach ever. So.
Yeah, it's finally time for the Spurs to be bad. They got rid of Dejounte. Pop is out in a year probably. So they're just going to be crap for a long time. But yeah, it is strange.
He's 25. He's the same age as Brunson.
The duo of Murray and Trae Young is very interesting.
I like it.
We'll see what happens with that. Obviously, Trae is a bad defender. Dejounte is very good. Both of them play point guard, so they're going to have to share a backcourt, which is strange.
I think they can both play together. The good thing is they didn't give up any of their good role players. They still have John Collins, Capella, Hunter.
They gave up
still
nothing.
Have a really good team.
An expiring contract who got bought out.
And he's on Boston now, yeah. DeJounte's the same age as Brunson. He just became an all-star. Why didn't the Knicks just go all in for DeJounte? It's the same thing, but better.
What does he makes less money, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's not on a big contract yet, I don't think.
Yeah,
maybe just sign one. I don't know.
Bro, 4 years, $60 million for this man.
That's half of Brunson's contract.
He makes less than Robinson.
Yeah, that's why I said, why is Robinson getting paid $60 million when DeJounte makes $60 million?
Yeah, I don't know. His contract is up after 2 seasons from now. So he's going to get, when he's 27, he'll get a huge deal.
Yeah, and he's taller than Brunson. He's a 6'10" wingspan. He's 6'4".
Let's do NNN, my friend.
Well, actually, the Celtics traded for Brogdan. They gave up Neesmith. Not many players. They got Gallinari, too. They needed another guard that can handle the ball and score off the bench well, and Boston added that. So where do we think the Celtics rank in the contenders?
They're really good now. I think they just...
think they'll go back to the finals?
I think they're the favorites to win the championship now, I think, with
what?
that.
The favorites to win the championship?
They just made the finals.
Over your Paddington, Giannis Antetokounmpo?
They just added a 20-point scorer whose stats are going to get worse coming off the bench and playing with the Boston team. But they added a guy who's capable of that for nothing. Nothing, folks. Nothing. They literally just took a guy who averaged 19, 5, and 5, or even better than that last year.
Yeah.
And just put him on their team for nothing.
Yeah, he's gonna.
And they just made the finals.
They
were running Peyton Pritchard in the same role. Derek White in the same role.
That's a big upgrade.
And they just added a Malcolm Brogdon, great on-ball defender, good facilitator, capable of hitting outside shots, making threes, and scoring. They replaced Derek White with that. And they just made the finals.
They still have Derek White.
Exactly. They're the favorites to win the championship. The Bucks,
over your Bucks.
Giannis,
what about the Heat getting Durant?
I'm going to be rooting for the Bucks. But I don't think they're better than the Celtics with that.
Damn. You should bet on the Celtics to win the championship then.
What are the odds?
I don't know.
NBA favorites.
This claims they're plus 500. They're the favorite. They're one of the favorites.
Well, I was right.
The Celtics, Bucks, Suns, and Warriors. The Suns being third means Kevin Durant's going there, right? Miami's further down. Miami's worse odds than the Lakers and Clippers. How's that possible?
Maybe bet the Heat right now before they get Durant, and it'll skyrocket.
Yeah,
it'll
because
be a great investment.
The Heat get Durant, I'll pick them over Boston. I still like Milwaukee more. And then, the Warriors aren't going away anywhere. The Warriors just beat this team up. What if the Warriors beat Boston again?
They lost Gary Payton. They lost Porter.
Yeah, I mean, Gary Payton was useful. Was Porter really that big of an impact?
Draymond is going to get better.
Kuminga's going to get better. Kuminga's going to get better. But they got Kuminga and Moody who are going to play more.
Maybe. Yeah, the Heat are plus 1,400?
Well, you love the Celtics, but now let's go on to NNN. I'm Noah Levine, the world's greatest journalist who always strives to give the best news, best opinions on the news. So let's get into it. So our first topic of today, is an article that said the title is 17-year-old shark attack survivor describes her battle with the beast. And what a great headline. We should give props to this journalist who wrote that headline. Really grabs the attention by Eric Levinson and Melissa Alonso from CNN. And basically, so I'm going to read you this quote from the article. So she said, I didn't really know exactly what to do, but I knew with that sharks that you're supposed to punch them in the nose and to get them off you.
Is this a woman or is it a man?
17-year-old girl, yes. Addison Bethay, her name is. So this was in Florida, Keaton Beach, on a Thursday. A shark latched onto her flesh. I mean, goddamn. I do not want to ever experience what Jaws is in real life.
Yeah, what?
What would you do if a shark started biting on your leg in
what did she do?
water?
Let's hear what she did.
Well, she said, I didn't know exactly what to do, but I knew that with sharks, you're supposed to punch them in the nose to get them off you, and I couldn't get around to punch him in the nose, the 17-year-old told CNN, so I just started socking it in the face and then poked its eyes, and I tried to latch off with my fingers, and then it bit my hand. I don't know. I think everything's in condition. I don't think her hand got bit off, but it definitely got bit. There's no photos of it.
Jeez.
Just heard she screamed for help. A firefighter and why a firefighter? Her brother's a firefighter and EMT. I was gonna say, why would her brother scream for a firefighter? What is a firefighter gonna do? That's
You
not
use
their
the
job.
hose and shoot it at it.
I don't think that would do anything. But so yeah, so she survived. It doesn't really say if. I mean, it looks like she's in good condition. But well, yeah. What would you do if a shark latched on your leg? You gotta punch it in the nose.
I gotta punch it in the nose. I guess that's what I gotta do. No,
Yeah,
but
that's
like how big was the shark? Like what species was it? Like how do you survive? It must have been small. If
It might
she
have
was
been.
able to survive.
Yeah, I'm assuming it was in shallowish water and it wasn't that big. Let's see. It says. Oh crap. Okay, never mind. There was a bigger injury. I didn't read this right. Her leg.
No.
She is scheduled to have her leg amputated above her knee. Oh fuck. Okay, never
Aw.
mind. That's unfortunate. I thought this was a happy ending where she didn't get that hurt and she beat the
Right, I know.
shark
We
up.
took this. We took this. This is a fun end story. Now it's
We
kind of
lightly-
sad.
Yeah, I thought she beat the case. I thought she beat the shark and nothing bad happened, but
Okay,
she's
that
feeling
actually is
fine
not
though.
good.
She said she's in her hospital bed, blah blah blah. She just said, "I'm tired of sitting in my bed all the time." You can attest to that. What it's like being in the hospital for a while.
Yeah, no,
not
it sucks.
fun.
Don't do it. I didn't get attacked by
Well,
sharks.
don't
though,
do it.
which
Yeah, I'm
is-
not gonna just try to end up in the hospital.
Listen, that's my advice to you. Don't do it. I looked at what the most common sharks are off the coast of Florida. A lemon shark.
A lemon
the
is
most
it yellow?
common.
Is it just like a shark? What if it was just like a lemon with teeth? That was
I think
what
it has yellow eyes. Maybe that's why it's called lemon. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, she's in good spirit though, and her father said on Facebook she was cracking jokes about beating up the shark. So it seems like she's happy now, even after getting her freaking top of her leg amputated, I guess. So amputate above the knee. So how does that work? So like that gets cut off, but like what's replaced there? Like so only like above your knee, like
Nothing.
her thigh is just nothing. Like what's her thigh supposed to be then? Like how do you?
It's just right above the knee. So it's like your thigh down to where the knee is.
No, I know, but they got rid of that. So what do they replace it with? Like so she can still walk, obviously.
Yeah, you have like half a leg.
Yeah, that's
It's like you're-
unfortunate. It could have
Yeah,
been worse
like
though.
whatever-
Your whole leg could have been bitten off.
Yeah, no, I thought that she survived. That's a little bit sad.
Well, she did survive, just the leg got, but she's fine. She said, "I mean, a shark has always been there. It just happened to attack me that day. I lived 17 years without a shark attack. I'm fine with going back." Yeah, I mean, I'm 21 and I have not lived through a shark attack. I like to keep that going.
Yeah, there's lots of people that are like 75 and have not experienced a shark attack. So,
But guess what? The first thing was she asked for when she was in the hospital when she.
I don't like a shark stuffed animal or something.
No, she asked for a Wendy's Frosty.
Oh, I would have went McDonald's fries if that was me.
I would have went that too, yeah. Okay, well, I thought this was a happier story. I didn't read it through properly. Unfortunate,
You
but at
are
least
you are on the quest to be the greatest journalist of all time. We are not
no, I should
making
respect.
strides for that.
I showed respect to the. I gave my respect to her and the journalist who made the amazing headline that caught my attention.
Yeah, it was probably the editor who made the headline. So
Yeah, it's usually the editor. It's never the journalist. Haha, yeah, I know that. Okay, so another article: where to go this summer. I'm gonna read you the top 11 destinations. Because we like talking about traveling on this show. Should be interesting.
yeah, traveling is good.
All right, so we got Australia is one of them. This is not in order. I'm just going to read them. Australia, Singapore, Israel, France, Great Britain, Panama, the Great Lakes, Walt Disney World, which we talked about last show. It's kind of funny. New York, and Montreal.
New York.
So what?
Okay, so we've been to a few of those places.
I've been to
already.
Montreal. Panama seems interesting.
So
The
have I.
Panama Canal, you know.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like that's not like a tourist spot to
No,
go
it's
see.
not. That's the first thing I think when I see Panama. Why do I feel like the
Panama,
crime?
Yeah, I'm gonna go visit the Panama Canal.
Why do I feel like Panama's not a safe country? I feel like
I
it's a
don't know,
lot
it's
of
a good-
crime there.
Let's look at the index. We could always find out. Safest countries in the world. Of course, we have to wait for it to load. I am not the greatest journalist. Don't blame me.
Okay, so this says, I said Panama safeness. I typed it in. The first thing it says, people also ask, why is Panama City so dangerous? That answers my question. Drug traffickers frequent this lawless area on the Panama's border with Colombia. Yup, that ain't it. So you don't want to go to Panama City, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of like the South American countries have a reputation not being that safe. Like Brazil, I know like Rio in Brazil, there's like
Olympics
so much crime there.
Yeah. I've never been to South America. I want to go though. I've only seen it like in movies and like pictures of it.
We should go to the Amazon.
Yeah, that's cool. Panama, it says nature lovers will enjoy the Baru Volcano National Park. It's the 12th highest peak in Central America. It's touted as the only place in the world on a clear day you can see the Atlantic and the Pacific Oceans at the same time. Wait, that's sick.
Well, yeah, because it's that's such a skinny part of the world that you can just like the Atlantic is on the one side and the Pacific's on the other side.
Yeah, like they're saying on top of the volcano you can see both. That's cool. Volcanoes are interesting. Funny how it's Walt Disney. Would you pay the $100K to go on the trip? What you talk?
Yeah, we already went
Same
through
answer.
That. No.
Oh yeah, it actually literally says it's offering the freaking destination. That's what it's talking about too. The Great Lakes. Nobody talks about the Great Lakes from Ontario to Milwaukee. You know, from through spanning there. There's some ship that will accommodate 378 passengers to go through the Great Lakes or
through
something.
All of them?
It looks like, yeah.
I would want to go to Australia on that list. I feel like that's the most exciting.
I'd go to France. Did I not say Greece? Greece was on the list too.
That would be fun.
Israel. I could go to Israel for free, but
yeah, we
Middle
should
East
do
is
it.
kind of
Let's
scary.
do it.
Yeah, Israel would be cool. Singapore, I heard it is really. I think they speak English actually in Singapore. Or
really? I mean, they probably speak English in like sometimes, but
no, I feel like English is one of their main languages actually. I think I heard that somewhere. I don't know. I could be wrong. Actually, let's confirm since I always got to fact check myself.
They have 4 official languages: Mandarin, Tamil, Malay,
yeah, Mandarin,
and English.
yeah. There's only 5.8 million people living in Singapore.
That's a lot still.
Yeah, I would go with France on this list or Israel, because I want to go to France next in Europe.
I would go to Australia.
Yeah, Australia. They have the worst COVID rules too. So if they get to red 100 cases, you have to be locked down.
Oh no.
All right, so I'm just gonna read off the list once again because this should be a clip. Top 11 destinations this summer: Australia, Singapore, Israel, France, Greece, Great Britain, Panama, Walt Disney World, the Great Lakes, New York, and Montreal.
We should just say we should go to New York. That's a great destination.
Yeah, that's like 40 minutes away. All right, so the final thing, and then a little sport. Jumping back into sports, this article came out yesterday. Well, former NFL wide receiver Demaryius Thomas diagnosed with CTE, posthumous examination. Very unfortunate. How did he die again? Did he die of brain damage? How did he die again?
I think he had like a aneurysm or some like attack.
Yeah. Is there any way to fix CTE? Because it's just, I don't know. 87% of people are diagnosed with CTE, like from playing football and stuff. He
had a seizure. That was his cause of death.
Yeah.
Which
so
checks out if you're talking about CTE.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. They find CTE in all these guys, like Junior Seau. I mean, he committed suicide because of it.
I don't know. CTE is weird because it affects everybody differently.
Yeah.
So, like, you talk about players that have been in the NFL for 20 years and they're they're fine. Like Brady, how many years has he been in the NFL? 22.
Well, he's never
he
really had
plays,
concussions. I feel
right.
like.
He plays a position where he doesn't get hit every time, which benefits him. But I mean, he's fine. Like he's with it. He's still playing.
Yeah, he
there's
always
no
has good
issues
O
with
lines.
him.
Like I don't know. Peyton
But,
Manning
yeah,
never
I
had
mean,
that many
look,
problems.
those players were able to play for 20 years and be completely fine. Other players, offensive
It's like
linemen.
that's the easiest thing to do is if you're a quarterback.
I
A
guess
linebacker's not gonna play for
hit,
20
people
years.
still get concussed.
I mean, wide receiver playing 20 years. That's why it's so amazing that Jerry Rice was able to do that and be fine. He played every game too. Like he was the MJ of his era. Played every
Right.
game. Was the best player every time. Doesn't have
So
CTE.
there's no universal correction for it. They try and make the helmet safer. They try and put things
The
in
rules,
the rules
yeah,
of,
no more.
of the game to make it safer. But
Yeah, no, you can't like hit when they're sliding or whatever. Helmet.
all you can do is do that for now. I mean, eventually, I don't know. Maybe football in 30 years will not have tackle anymore. Like who knows?
That would be kind of weird. An NFL without tackling, flag football.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know. What would it? Should that what would happen if that happened? Would people be mad? I guess
don't know.
people would be mad.
As long as you could play fantasy and gamble on it, I don't think people would care.
Honestly, I think that's a good take. Like, I think people would freak out for 2 years,
For a week,
and then
probably.
eventually they would be like, you know what? It's the same thing.
Yeah, so same players, just same shit. But that has been N today. Went from Sharks to Destinations to Demarius Thomas and CTE. I'm Noah Levine, the world's greatest journalist, signing off. Thank you guys for listening to the Bona Fide Scrubs, a packed free agency show. Man, there's so many platforms I have to get ready. Okay, so follow us on subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple. You can leave a review on Apple. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Not Facebook because we don't have a Facebook. Maybe that'll come one day. And obviously subscribe on YouTube because the video version is on YouTube and Spotify. And thank you guys for watching.
See ya.